So yesterday, Jeremy Hunt unveiled what could well be his final budget as Chancellor. So in this video, we're going to be going through some of the key details, some of my hot takes, and one of my really controversial takes. I'm going to be as even-handed as I can because there is, I think, one really important thing which has flown below the radar, which I do think is important and I also want to get into. ISAs. Now, there had been rampant speculation for well over a year in some cases that ISAs were going to be reformed somehow. And so what they've done is they've revealed the Great British ISA, which sounds like a famous cake baking show, but no legal action necessary. So what is this? It's basically a £5,000 allowance that goes on top of your £20,000 ISA allowance. Now, personally, this feels like kind of a hot take. It's bullshit, really. I looked up some of the statistics and only around 6% of UK adults even have an ISA. Now, my view is that is largely down to people not being able to access financial education. So if you want to access financial education, subscribe for more content because we've got loads coming. The number of people who actually maximise their ISA allowance of £20,000 a year is less than half of that. So we are talking very, very small numbers of people who are even hitting the £20,000 threshold. So at this point, I'm sure you're legitimately asking, well, what's another £5,000 going to be? And to be honest, that's the question I've got. What's the point of this? And the truth of the matter is, if you maximise your ISA allowance, then that's a good thing, but it just feels like we are so many steps away from actually this being useful and making a material difference that I don't think it's all it's cracked up to be. And I think it's kind of a waste of time. You know, this is just some kind of devilish shit. But this is the thing that not many people are talking about and I think has really managed to fly under the radar. So, the government has also said that they're going to continue to explore a pension pot for life. So, let's just go through how it works at the moment. You go to work for Company A, Company B and Company C over, let's say, a 10-year period. Each individual one will have separate pension schemes, they'll have separate pension contributions, separate products, separate pension providers, and it can all get mind-bogglingly complicated. Now, what you can do at the moment is you can speak to all of your individual pension providers and you can group all your pensions into a single product. So I personally have collected all my pensions from all my previous employers and put them into my own SIP, a self-invested personal pension, which I have with Vanguard. Very complicated, very annoying, and means tons and tons of admin paperwork. And admin paperwork is bullshit, as we know on this channel. So what would a pension pot for life be? Well, basically what you would do is when you start a job, you would say, hey, I've already got this pension pot and I want you to make all my pension contributions to it. Now, what it means is that, and hence the pension pot for life name, what it means is that you could basically go from Company A to Company B to Company C and not have to do any of that admin. And it is estimated that there are 3 million unclaimed pension pots in the UK. 3 million of them, which is just an insane number. 3 million pension pots is a lot. And one of the other things, which we should definitely do a video on, subscribe so you don't miss it, is a lot of the default pension schemes that people get put into, which they can't necessarily opt into, are kind of medium risk, they can tend to have higher fees, and the effect on fees on pension pots is something that we talk about and have talked about a lot on this channel, but the cost can be absolutely stratospheric. So it's something to bear in mind. So I think this is actually, I'm going to give old Jezza an A+ on this one. It's a good idea and I really hope that after the consultation period is over, it's something that they actually decide to implement. So what's my take on all this? Now, we have got a whole series of videos talking about the UK economy, its comparison to international competitors, post-Brexit, post-financial crisis, and you go through the list of things that we've discussed where we've itemised, you know, say a lack in productivity, and what we've basically found is that there is nothing in this budget that will ultimately affect some of those core problems, some of the real building blocks, foundational problems which the economy is facing. So let's take low productivity. Productivity in the UK has basically flatlined since the financial crisis. There's nothing in there for increasing funding, for getting people onto training courses. There is just nothing there, and that would be a really good and positive step in the right direction in order to solve one of the biggest problems that the economy ultimately faces. What do I rate this budget overall? Like a D-. There's some really good stuff in there. The pension pot for life I think is a really good idea. I generally am in favour of the child benefit changes, but I think the real change won't come until 2026, but for the most part it's tinkering around the edges and it doesn't deal with a lot of the fundamental issues that the economy faces ultimately. Please like and subscribe. Peace.